MCG yesterday. This was Collingwood doing what Collingwood does best, and that's winning and doing it by margins of less than 2 goals.
And what I love about Collingwood is they just have so much belief in themselves that they can come back from anywhere. So there's Port Adelaide. They came out, they got a free kick straight away before the ball had even been bounced and kicked one, and then they came home late. But what a frustrating year it's been, Cornsey. I think they could have been far better than this. They've underachieved, 11th on the ladder. They're so good for some periods, but just don't at the end get the job done.
It's been a bit of a waste. There's been nothing easy for them. I think Collingwood have won all these close games. Port Adelaide have lost a lot by under 12 points this year. They've had some issues with their ruck, and that hurt them yesterday. But just not good enough, as Ken Hinkley spoke about after the game, and they'll certainly look at that really closely at the end of the year.
Okay, and we're going to look at Collingwood very closely in just a tick. But while you're on Port Adelaide, what does the future hold there, and where has it gone so wrong for them?
Well, I think the future's okay. Like, if you look at their best players yesterday, a lot of them are young players. Butters, his best game for the year. Rosie's been dominant for the back half of the year. Kane Farrell went to half back. Young Burgoyne played well. So I'm actually optimistic about where their list is at. And if they can add a key defender and also perhaps some more midfield class, then I'm actually excited about their list. It's just Damo whether Ken Hinkley is the coach to hang in there and coach the last year of his contract, which would be his 11th year.
And after the 0-5 start, they got their act together, but ultimately we now get to this stage of 19 completed matches, and they've only gone 8-6 since. So it's not as if it's been a dramatic turnaround, TJ. And to your point about Ken Hinkley, it may well have just got to the point where he has taken this team as far as he can with this particular group. And coming off consecutive prelim final losses into this year, they're not making finals now on the back of that. I know that North Melbourne will be making the phone call if they can't work things out with Alistair Clarkson to Ken Hinkley. And I would imagine they'd need to make that phone call reasonably soon, depending on how those conversations with Clarkson go. Okay,
a lot to play out there. Let's talk about Collingwood, in particular their forward line, which is always a better forward line when De Goey's in form.
No doubt. He was good yesterday. He played with an intensity that I haven't seen much of from him this year. Clearly, he understands that he's under pressure with his future. But it was this surge footy for me. So turn the footy over in your front half. Nothing pretty about this whatsoever. Look, there's mistakes involved in this. You butter up, you just force it forward, and you get the tsunami of these smaller forwards running onto the play. So it's an unconventional forward line. There's Hoskin Elliott. He kicked a couple yesterday.
He didn't have my check yesterday.
No, and you didn't have that. So it was a smaller forward line, and their ability to transition. Once again here, you win a crucial 50-50 there, and then it's just this surge footy where their half forwards come up the ground, and then they beat you back. Port Adelaide played a really aggressive pressing defence, and Collingwood were able to get in and behind them. So look, they've got some decisions to make with Grundy and the like, but I just like the unconventional nature of their forward line.
Sorry, mate. Just you've mentioned Grundy. In short,
I play him.
At the expense of
Cox.
Okay.
Cox has touched the footy 8 times, both the last fortnight, has had 1 or 2 good games for the year, but if you're playing a big final, you're picking Grundy over Cox.
What I love about Collingwood is their bottom end and their top end. There's not a lot of difference. So you bring in guys like Murphy, Johnson, McCreery and Carmichael, who all have an impact. You see guys at other clubs who come in and they're playing their first, second, 10th game. They're just in there to get a game and they're not really impacting games, where those 4 guys have impacted games every time they've gone out in the field.
Carmichael's kicked clutch goals coming off as a sub 3 times in the last quarter of the last 2 games.
They're about to be tested though. I think they've played the bottom 6 sides the last 6 weeks. Melbourne we've touched on. So their draw that they have is going to be difficult for the last 3. I'm looking forward to seeing them up against the real top quality of the competition.
And not for the first time, we're talking about Jack Ginnivan in the wash-up from this.
Yeah, look, again, performed again. He'd been quiet for a while and he has been all the focus of, the head-high tackle situation. And post-match, let us into his world and how he's coping with it.
It's definitely taking a toll on my mental health and all that stuff, but I'm here, happy, smiling. When you're kicking goals and winning, it's beautiful, so can't complain.
Yeah, we're conscious of this. We see him, we try to protect him. We get to a point where we say, I think maybe enough's enough. Let's look after this kid.
And yet again, there are incidents involving him that would have been adjudicated differently had it not been Jack Ginnivan in them. That one was, this one we're about to see here is played actually against him. And again, I reckon that's actually not a bad ruling on that particular occasion, given the change in the rule or the clarification of the rule. But we saw some other free kicks across the weekend where that person, in Ginnivan's instance in that, would have been given the free kick.
There was one there that I thought that one actually should have been a free kick against Gray. There's others that he's playing for it. Anyway, he's a very good player. Like, he's actually really influential for them. He kicked 3 in the first half. But they're going to be challenges as well from an injury point?
Yeah, well, they've lost Taylor
Adams.
Adams now, you'd think, for some weeks with another soft tissue injury, a groin injury that he's suffered in that game yesterday. And he's so important to them on so many levels, and leadership being the key one. And you can just see that's a real worrying one, given there's only 3 matches left before the home and away season finishes. Jeremy Howe, regularly banged up, regularly plays, has got a cork buttock. He could be okay. And this is Grundy going through the VFL yesterday. There's an aggression to his game yesterday. They seem to try and get into him, but he certainly held his own in it. You can see this here. Look, yeah, I'm with you, Ken. I reckon he's right to go, and he's just playing. What
a great problem to have, Grundy, to come back. And just on Ginnivan, what I'd say to him if I was around Collingwood is if you're relying on free kicks to impact games, well, you're in trouble. So he had 8 touches, 3 goals. I mean, he's got to find more tricks still to his game. So it's been a lot about
the free kick. A couple of goals.
Yeah, I know he did, but he doesn't win enough. I reckon Cody Waitman's been caught in this situation too. But he's worked so hard, Cody Waitman. I reckon Ginnivan has to do more.
He's got 30 goals, Lloyd.
Yeah, 30 goals, I know.
It's a lot of goals for a kid in his second season of footy with all this focus.
That is a good point. That is a good point. But I still think he's got to impact more in terms of getting more hands on the footy in different ways.
But far be it from me to try and counter your argument, but in terms of the whole free kick scenario that you raised there, we're the ones raising that. You know what I mean? There's probably
but he spoke of what it's doing to him. And I have been in a situation where I was in bad habits. And the moment you start thinking to yourself, like, free kicks are a bonus. That should be his thing. If I get a free kick, it's a bonus. That should be his mindset. Crumbs, tackles, pressure. That's the base of his game.
We do forget, though, he's 19 years of age. They're kids. And, you know, and he's had a lot. He's had a lot on his plate this season in terms of media attention. And when you've got ABC Sport putting out social media things a couple of weeks ago about how would you heckle him, I mean, seriously? I mean, he's 19. So